Wherever you are in the world, good day, good people, good day, and welcome to Wow, Wish Only Well live television show, where I am your host, SherVonne Grose, marriage and family therapist, inspirational coach, and motivational speaker. It's Wednesday, guys. It is a wonderful Wednesday indeed, and you know what we do on Wednesdays? We wow. And by wow, I mean to wish only well all across the world. Listen, I am so super excited about my special guest who is already backstage, ready to come out and get the conversation started. And I'm so honored and privileged to have him here. So, listen, you know how we do it, guys. We cannot allow him to come out without properly introducing him, even though I know he really does not need any introduction. So, let me get right to it because I know you guys are ready to listen, hear, and see our special guest tonight, who is none other than Dr. Terrence Ferguson. So let me tell you all about Dr. Ferguson, right, before he come out and engage with us. Okay, so listen, guys, let me tell you. Dr. Terrence Ferguson is a native of Tableton, Georgia. His love of animals began as a child growing up in rural West Georgia. After rescuing several neighborhood strays, Dr. Ferguson developed a love of animals. With his family's encouragement, Dr. Ferguson embarked on a career in veterinary medicine. His summers were spent volunteering with local veterinary clinics. After graduating from Central High School in Tableton, Georgia, Dr. Ferguson matriculated to Fort Valley State University in Fort Valley, Georgia in the fall of 1987. During his tenure at FVSU, Dr. Ferguson interned with the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service at two of their wildlife refuges, including Patuance Wildlife Refuge in Laura, Maryland, and Alaska Wildlife Refuge on the Kenai Peninsula. After completing his Bachelor of Science degree in veterinary technology, Dr. Ferguson applied and was accepted to the prestigious Tuskegee School of Veterinary Medicine in 1994. He graduated in 1998 with his DVM. In his spare time, Dr. Ferguson follows his true passion by volunteering, coaching, and mentoring Central Georgia students involved with the Peach County Youth Organization, where he also serves as treasurer. He also serves as a trustee at Beulah Land Bible Church in Warner Robins and Macon, Georgia. Dr. Ferguson and his wife, Kimberly, reside in Byron, Georgia with their two children, Terrence II and Nicole, and their dog, Seizure. Listen, guys, without further ado, let's welcome to the WOW TV show, none other than Dr. Terrence Ferguson. Hey, Dr. Ferguson.
How are you?
How are you?
I'm doing fantastic.
Oh, good. It's so good to have you here. So welcome to the television show here. We can't wait to get conversation started and talk about your world of veterinary medicine, right? Helping us to understand. All right, you ready to get into conversation? I love it. Okay, so listen, tell us. I know that you are co-owner of both. I don't know, one or the other, right? Of Critter Fixers, right? And I think there's two locations. But listen, I want to give you the opportunity to tell us all about Critter Fixers and the array of services that you guys offer.
Okay, so we have two locations, like you just said. There's a location in Byron, Georgia, and there's a location in Bonaire, Georgia. And I have a partner, Dr. Hodges, and he and I went into business in 1999. We kind of jumped in there on faith. And the funny is that, we had no money. We had no place to go. We just had each other. But we took a leap of faith and we are where we are today. We have two freestanding buildings, and we've gone from just he and I in a little small building that was 800 square foot. And we always joke about when we first opened, it was just he and I. So I was his receptionist, and he was my veterinary technician. I was his kennel boy, and then he was my surgeon assistant. And both of us a little bit too overpaid to be helping each other, but that's all we had, and no money. And I remember we got that first little check, and it could have been $5, whatever it was. We were so excited to get it, and we were like, "Yeah, we're in business now." So, but we had a long way to go. But we worked until we got to the point now that we have 7 veterinarians between the 2 hospitals. So it's definitely has grown over the 20 plus years that we've been in business.
That's exciting and really good to hear. And I like the fact that you pointed out, because one of the things that I have to keep reminding myself and reminding a lot of people who are on their road to doing greater things, or on their way to finding their purpose or starting their business or whatever they may be at the very beginning of whatever it is that they desire to do, is that's just it, is that there is a beginning. You have to start somewhere. And so to show that there was a beginning there to Critter Fixer, going from 1 location to 2 locations, going from 2 veterinarians to having 7 across both locations. So that's just awesome in itself, just to be able to hear that. I know I was amazed when I went to the website to see all of the services that you guys provided. I guess I was misinformed about what a veterinary clinic does or have to offer.
Right. So, being a veterinarian, our motto is we treat them all. And sometimes I think, I don't know why we got that motto, because when we put it out there and we get everything, you hear me? We
Wow.
get, and it's crazy. Like the first probably 15 years, we saw most of the dogs, cats, occasionally we saw a rabbit, maybe a ferret. But man, the last 5 to 7 years, we have seen everything from, hamsters to rats, to squirrels, to possums, to chinchillas, to bearded dragons, to snakes, to chickens, to ducks, to geese, to camels, to spiders, to turtles. You name it, they come in Critter Fixer. And it's just one of those things where we just have evolved into that. The first few years in existence, we didn't see all those animals. But I think now that, somebody got this snake, right? And everybody got a snake. Now somebody want to one up them. You got a snake, but I got a bearded dragon. Then the other person, well, you got a bearded dragon, but I have this. Everybody wants to one up each other. Now we just got all kind of different animals out there. And as a veterinarian, we have to treat, all these different things. And it can be challenging, because when a dog comes in, his anatomy is a lot different than when a snake comes in. So as a veterinarian, it can be challenging. And it is something that, even though I've been a veterinarian for 20 plus years, I'm constantly learning and doing continued education every day, trying to get better.
Wow. See, that's how I know I'm not cut out to be a veterinarian. When you said a snake, that's all.
That got you. That's right. But getting back to you talking about the services. So I always tell people being a veterinarian is a lot of things. So before 12 o'clock, I can be an oncologist, an orthopedic, an ophthalmologist, a dentist, and whatever else, obstetrician. I can do all that before lunch, because animals come in with tumors. We may have an animal come in that needs a dental or tooth extraction. We may have another animal that comes in that has a torn ACL or cruciate ligament that has to be repaired, or a fractured leg. So we have all these different things that we have to do, and most people really don't know that we do all these things, and all the different diseases that these animals get. It's always funny, when I tell people, this dog has diabetes and he's on insulin. They'd be like, hold on.
Whoa.
You mean the animals can get diabetes? I'm like, yeah. They were like, what kind of insulin do they get? I said, the same kind that you get. It's the same thing. So these animals get these same illnesses and diseases, and we treat them basically the same. So when they say we're the other family doctor, that's basically what we are.
Oh my goodness. But you just have to have like such a vast amount of knowledge. I mean, it's almost like you guys got to be genius to be able to, because like you said,
I'm not a genius. I'm not a genius for sure. But you just have to know what you can, and know how to go and resource and find the other information that you need. And you can't be afraid. You can't be afraid of that challenge. Of course, everybody don't see all the animals like we do at Critter Fixer, but it's something that we choose to do, and we're just not afraid. If we get an animal that come in, and we always thought we had an animal. We had an owner called, and they said they had a rhea. They had a problem with his leg. Dr. Hyde and I were looking at us like, what is a rhea? So we had to go look it up, but it's kind of like a small ostrich, and they had a problem with the leg, and nobody else would see it. And it was like, well, y'all see it, and we did, and we ended up being able to help this ostrich. This rhea had an issue with his knee or the patella, and we kind of rigged up some and made it work and made the baby better.
Wow, that is just amazing. Now you're talking about learning something every day. It sounds like in your field of work, what you do, your line of work, you're definitely learning something every day So you
every
can't
day. So
have
no
you,
2 days
wow.
off.
Yes.
Right.
Oh my goodness. That's amazing. But I would imagine that it makes for a really exciting work day.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt. Because so I can come to work and I can kind of know what's on the schedule, but it never works out like that. You know what I mean? So I know I have this appointment, but there's always something happen. We can be in the middle of something, and bam, they say cold blue, and then we got emergency running in. It may be a dog that's very sick. It could be a dog or animal, something hit by a car, something that's lethargic. We have to stop what we're doing there, jump on that, and it's kind of like all hands on deck. So no days are alike. You just have to kind of be ready for whatever comes in. And the great thing is that we have a staff that they've been here with us so long, they kind of know how Dr. Hodge and I think. They know exactly what their tasks are. So when these things happen, it's like clockwork. The things are functioning very well, very fast, and very efficiently.
Wow, that's awesome because I know, like, in order for any business, no matter what it is, in order for that business to be really successful, you got to have a great team because you can't do everything on your own, right? And so that's awesome that
No
you have a
doubt.
team, that's committed to doing the work, getting in the trenches with you, and making sure that these animals are okay. I'm just absolutely amazed.
Yes, yes.
Because like I said, when I looked it up, because it's even with you describing it, in my head I was thinking about this is like like a emergency room, right, where you never know when come in.
Exactly.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, it definitely is. It can be an emergency room. Like I said, at any minute, any second, someone busts in the door and they come to the back and say, "We got emergency up front. We got a dog coming in," and blah blah blah, whatever it is. So at that point, we're getting ready. We can go from that to we delivering babies. Then we got new puppies coming in the world, and or it can be an old dog come in that has heart failure that we're trying to prolong their life and try to get it so they have a good quality life as long as we can. It's just kind of all over the place, and that's why I love it, because no 2 days are just alike, and this profession definitely keeps you on your toes mentally and physically.
Yeah, I would imagine that it's kind of hard to get bored with just doing that kind of work because you've already said no 2 days are alike. Everything is
There's no
just
boredom. There's no boredom in veterinary medicine for sure.
yeah, definitely. So I was going to ask you about one of the most bizarre, I guess, or different kind of animal but I think you mentioned it because you didn't even know what it was, but it had something was wrong with the leg and you took care of it. I'm going to have to look it up because I don't know what that is.
Yeah, Rio, that definitely was probably one of those that we don't see very often, but one of the ones that it's a common animal, but not in Georgia. It's when we got a call come out and see a camel, and we were like, hold on, we're in Georgia. Is there a camel? Camels in Georgia? So I don't know if it's camels in Georgia, but I know there's one because we went out to see it one day. So definitely one camel that resides in the state of Georgia.
Wow. So how often do you make house calls?
So we go out when we can. A lot of times we're so busy in house we can't, but we will go out a lot of time when we're doing large animal. Those animals can't get into the clinic, so we have to go out and see them. And we have a specialized truck that's kind of like a mobile truck that has all our medication and drugs and diagnostic equipment that we use to drive out to those farms to take care of those animals.
Wow, amazing. Okay, okay, good deal. Wow. Okay. So do you have like animals that come in like on a regular basis? Because like when you have a baby or a kid, well, even as adult, we go through and we get regular checkups. Do you guys is that typical too for
Yeah, so let's say let's say that you had a puppy, right? And let's say your puppy is 8 weeks old. So what would happen is the puppy would come in starting at 6 to 8 weeks old every 3 weeks until it gets about 4 to 5 months old. So we get to see them very often then. It's coming in is getting what we call the vaccination or the booster shots. It's kind of like I always tell kids, have you ever been to the doctor and you got a shot and you wasn't even sick? And they were like, yeah. I said, what did you get that shot for? And they were like, I don't know. I said, those were your vaccinations to help prevent you from getting sick. So we
yes,
have them
yes.
coming in multiple times like that. But once they get that last vaccine about 4 or 5 months old, they come in once a year then for us to do our annual vaccination. We do exams, we check them out. So if they don't get sick or have any issues in between, we see everybody at least once a year.
Oh wow, amazing. I'm just so amazed at this because like I said, I never had that understanding. I mean, to be honest, I did grow up with animals, but my dad had like I think we had pigs. We did have pigs and dogs. Our family has always been a lover of dogs.
Yes.
But I only remember like taking the dog in to get vaccination,
Yes.
get
Yes.
inoculated. That's all I could recall. And so that was how limited my mindset was in terms of what. Also, when I went to your website to see that you guys had this full array of services, I was like, oh my God. So, yes, that's awesome. Okay. So, what has been the coolest procedure thus far that you've had to perform?
The coolest procedure. So, what's the coolest procedure? What I enjoy doing most is more orthopedic stuff. So, when you have joint issues or fractured legs and things like that, that's what I enjoy doing. I like doing surgery on things like that. So, if I had to say procedure, it's definitely surgery is what I like to
Okay.
do. Um,
Okay.
what I at least
Awesome.
doing probably most is doing dental cleanings. I don't like teeth like that. So, but we have to do it because we have to do it. But it is something that we do routinely and have to have dental care in these dogs and the cats and the ferrets because even rabbits because um, they'll develop periodontal disease. You think about it, if you go and you don't brush your
Mhm.
teeth for a year, you're gonna develop a lot of plaque and tartar, and we have to scale that off. If not, they'll lose their teeth prematurely, or earlier than they should be, or they may develop some kind of dental disease and cause a problem as they get older.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, that's a lot. Like you said, they have to be taken care of just like us. I probably wouldn't like teeth either, especially trying to clean the teeth of an animal because I
Yeah,
would
they,
imagine
they
that.
get pretty bad sometimes.
Yeah, I would imagine that. So, how long does it take? Let's talk about like the veterinary medicine. How long does it take one to become a vet?
Okay, how long does it take? So once you leave high
Typically.
school, okay, 8 years. 8 to 9 years, right? So you got 4 years of undergrad or 5 years of undergrad, and the School of Veterinary Medicine is 4 years. So
Wow.
it's going to be anywhere from 8 to 9 years, depending on how long you're an undergrad to become a veterinarian.
So, and do you also have to do residency after that? After you finish that, do you?
So, all right. So what happened with residency is a little bit different than an MD. You can choose to do a basically initially we call it an internship.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you want to be a specialist, let's say that you want to be because there are veterinary specialists. You can
Wow.
decide that I want to be a specialist and all I want to be is a cardiologist, or I just want to be a radiologist, or I want to just be oncologist, which means that's all that you do. You can go and do a residency program and pass another test, and you what we call a board certified, whatever field that is. Now you can do that after veterinary school. So let's say you want to be a board certified orthopedic, then after undergrad, it would take you 6 to 7 years because you have to do another 2 to 3 years of residency and internship.
Wow. Okay. All right. Good. All right. For those that's interested in becoming a veterinarian, because I also learned in doing my study about this, there seems to be a big shortage of veterinarians overall, but specifically African American veterinarians. I was shocked that
Right.
I think the statistic, the number was a very small, extremely small, really. I think the number was like out of all veterinarians, um, 1.5% of veterinarians were African American. Why do you believe this to be so?
Well, I think there's a lot of factors involved. One of the things is representation, right? Even when I was growing up, I wanted to be a veterinarian, but I never saw a veterinarian that looked like me. So it was something that
Yeah.
I wasn't sure I could achieve it. I was blessed to become one. So just exposure is one thing, and another thing is, you know, a lot of time when the kids may say, "Okay, I think I want to be an animal doctor," and they tell their parents, right? uh, as far as our area, there's not a lot of veterinarians that they may know. So they may not be able to say, I can take you to Uncle John and let you go hang out with him a little while because he's a veterinarian. But they know who's a dentist and they know who's a doctor who may look
Right.
like them. They can always take them there to shout. So a lot of the kids get pushed away from veterinary medicine into dentistry or medical field, MD, because it's familiar to the parents and their surroundings. That's
Yeah.
another thing. But the other thing is we have to be allowed to be admitted in these schools of veterinary medicine. Tuskegee School of Veterinary Medicine graduates at roughly around 75% of all Black veterinarians come from one school.
Wow.
So what we're doing now, one of the challenges that Hodge now has is going to these schools and talking to these schools so they can allow these minority kids in, because if we aren't allowed to get into schools, we can't become veterinarians.
Right.
And there's just not a lot of veterinary schools. I think there may be, we just expanded, I think we may be around 36, 37 veterinary schools
Oh, wow.
now. So
Yeah.
you think about that. Each class only allow roughly 100 kids per year. So that's less than 4,000 people are entering veterinary school every year. That's not a lot of kids compared to medical school. So,
Mhm.
so the pet ownership is outracing the amount of kids that are getting into veterinary school. So we're not only going to have a shortage of veterinarians at some point, we still have a shortage of minorities in the field as well.
Yeah, yeah. And I just pointed that out because you and I are minorities. This is nothing against you, because I know that you welcome anyone in your practice just like I do, and you welcome getting to the point where I was going to talk about how you guys do something with kids, having kids to come to your practice. I know that you've been open to. I was once the director of a therapeutic foster care program, and we had a child that was in our care, and she indicated that she wanted to do something. She had a passion for animals, and she was thinking about becoming a vet. And you were open to her coming. I think she came for a while and did some things there. And
Yes.
so I know. So tell us about the program and what you and Dr. Hodges do to kind of make people aware of that this is an opportunity for any youth, any teen, any person to be a veteran, to be a veterinarian.
Yeah, since Dr. Hodge and I have started Critter Fixers, we've always had our doors open because we know the importance of just exposure, allowing the kids to be able to come in, see what we do, see what goes on in the veterinary hospital, just to see if there's something that they want to do, just to let them know that it's an option for them. And it's something that we've always done. And, once the show kind of came about, that number kind of increased. And Dr. Hodges called me one day and said, well, why don't we get these kids together at one time and just show them what it's like to be a veterinarian. So at that point, a program was born called Vet for a Day, which is basically we bring kids in for the day, and we kind of split the day into two parts. One part of the day is geared toward showing them and telling them how to become veterinarians, the different steps in becoming veterinarians, things that are important becoming veterinarians, and being close to Fort Valley State University that has the veterinary science department, we have a lot of kids that come through here that work here or have worked here, and we let them come back and tell their journey, wherever they are now. It may be a kid who is in undergrad, they can tell where they are right now in their journey. We have some kids that are applying to veterinary school, can talk about the application process. We have kids that are in veterinary school, can talk about what veterinary school looks like. And we got kids that are veterinarians now, can talk about what it's like now to be a veterinarian. So that's kind of the first half of the day. The second half of the day, which Hodges always call his part because it's the fun time. He said, I'm the most stoic one. You just want to learn stuff. And he wants to have fun. But we bring them to the clinic and we divide them into different groups, and we have stations and we show them, what x-rays look like. We show them endoscopy. We do a live endoscopy and we run a light down and pull out. We do live surgeries and let them come in glove and gown up to see that, how to restrain animals, different exotic animals we have there, how to do ultrasound. So they have a full evening of actually being in the clinic and what it looks like to actually do those procedures on live animals. So it's just a full day of activities we do. And we just started, just trying to do it at our clinic. And, one of the large drug companies, Zoetis, which is the largest animal pharmaceutical company there is, saw what we were doing, liked what we were doing, and they were like, look, we want to give you this money. We want you to go all around the country. So this past year, we actually we did our program in Houston, Las Vegas, Philadelphia, St. Louis, Florida, Louisiana, and of course here in Georgia. So it went well, and we just touched a lot of kids. Just come in because we want to share what we do because we think this is a great profession.
Oh my goodness, I absolutely love it. That's wonderful that someone saw that you guys were doing such an awesome job and this work that you're doing, and then they wanted you to take it further to be able to expand. That's awesome.
Yes.
So listen, I know that you and Kim have two beautiful children and extremely smart. So are either or both, are they following in your footsteps or no?
Well, I can strike one off. So TJ, my son, he's like, no, he's not. He loves animals, but he does not come in this veterinary clinic and he'll walk in here and deal with it. He can't handle the smells, and he just looks and he's out the door. Now, fortunately enough, my daughter has converted over to veterinary medicine. You know,
Yay.
initially her first 16, 17 years, she wanted to be a dentist, you know, but I never pressured her, you know, we took her to do to shadow dentists and things like that. And really right before COVID, she started hanging out at the clinic a little bit more, and she's always had this great love for animals. So I knew the compassion was there, but it wasn't something I wanted to push her to do because when
Right.
it's time to go to work, she has to get up and go. I'm not gonna go for her, right? So she
Right.
wants to be doing a profession that she loves, but yeah, so now she's in undergrad at Fort Valley State University. She graduates in May, and she just applied to veterinary school. So
Wow.
fingers crossed, next year this time she'll be first year veterinary student.
Awesome, awesome. And listen, I was wondering in terms of internship, I'm a therapist. So do you think animals need a therapist?
Do animals need therapists? Of course they do. Yeah, we may do it a little bit different way, you know, but there are, you know, times when we have to do our little seance, you know. No, yeah, but they do that because a lot of animals, as they get older, they will develop different things like cognitive dysfunction and things like that. So
Oh,
they do have to be mentally stimulated in a certain way so they can continue to have a good quality life and function well.
oh my goodness, that's
There you
amazing.
go. See, you come on up here. We get you a room and you get these animals and you can do your thing.
Except for the days when the snakes come in. I can't do those.
All right.
That would be a no. Okay, awesome, awesome. Well, listen, I'm so excited that you were able to come on and just share with us. And I know everybody wants to know. We have about 3 minutes left in the show. So, can you just kind of tell us about the Critter Fixers as much as you can, the show, because we're so excited to know that, here we got representation also on the National Geographic. That's a huge deal.
Right. So everybody likes to know, how did the show come about? You know, it wasn't something that we asked for, we looked for. If you asked us the day before, we would have said this is nothing that would ever, ever, ever happen, right? Because we weren't
Right.
looking for it. But they actually called my partner. You know, he's very active on social media, and a team saw some of his posts, production company, and they sent a message and said, "You ever thought about having a TV show?" Well, initially it was ignored because we thought it was spam, but they ended up calling the office, and then they kind of got us together, and you know, we were a little bit apprehensive at first, but they came down for 1 week and they filmed us working for a week, and they put together this thing called a sizzle reel. I didn't even know what that means, but it's kind of like a video of what the show could look like.
Oh,
They took
wow.
this film and they took it to Nat Geo Wild. And basically what they do is they pitch it to a network, and that happened to be the one. Now, they told us initially, you know, you probably got a 10-15% chance of them actually picking the show up because the people do this every day, and it's very rare for them to do it. And we were fine with that because we were doing fine before they came. You know, no veterinarian in the middle of Georgia had a camera following for the week, so we
Yes.
already felt special. And but they called us like 3 months later, and they said that they wanted us to get together, call at a certain time, and you could tell that you know, just over the phone, there was a team of people sitting around the table with a phone in the middle. You could just envision it. And they said, "You guys together?" I was like, "Yeah." And we initially thought they were gonna say, you know, we got far with it, but not going to work. Or we need to do this. But they said, "Congratulations, you have a TV show."
Oh my
And Dr.
goodness.
Hodge and I we went blank. We didn't say a word. It was like crickets. And they was like, you know, you can be happy, right? And we were like, "We're happy. We just don't know what to do now, right?" And they was like,
What's next?
can you get your agent to call?" We was like, "Why would we have an agent? We don't have an agent. We're veterinarians, right?" So we had to start doing all this stuff and getting an agent and trying to learn this system. And you know, it started out the first season with 6 episodes, and the second season we got 8, and now we just did season for us on television. So now we up to like 24 episodes when we film. So it's becoming I won't say work, but a lot more now, a lot more taxing because we have a lot more to do and a lot of more appearances that we have to make. And it's crazy that just two little country boys in middle Georgia. We're in an airport somewhere, we're in LA or wherever we are, and people look at you and be like, "You the critter fixer, aren't you?" And it's still crazy and surreal. I still don't believe it or understand it. I know it's real, but it's just like I'm just this little boy from Tarleton, Georgia.
Oh my
And
God.
just blessed. And we try to use this platform we have while we have it to try to help youth and try to increase the number of kids in veterinary medicine.
That's an amazing story. Awesome. And I mean, I've even before you started doing Critter Fixers on Nat Geo, I've known you to be a very humble person. You and your wife, just great people. Children are awesome. So just so honored to know you guys and to see you doing these great things. It gives me hope, right? So yeah, so excited for you guys. So thank you so much for coming on the show. But listen, tell us how we can catch Nat Geo when you guys are on, how they connect with you, if you have a social media or whatever. Just share with the viewers before we get out of here.
So as far as the show concerned, you can see it two ways. You can see it on Nat Geo Wild, and it's on Saturday nights at 9 o'clock, I think. But if you want to binge watch, you can go to Disney Plus, and all the episodes for the whole season, the first 4 seasons are on there. You can go and binge watch Critter Fixer as long as you want to. As far as social media, Instagram is Dr. Ferguson _ Critter Fixer Vet, and it's Dr. Ferguson _ Critter Fixer Vet. And on Facebook, of course, it's just look up Terrence Ferguson, Dr. Ferguson, or Critter Fixer Veterinary Hospital.
Awesome. Oh, awesome. Listen, guys, so you've heard it right here from Dr. Terrence Ferguson of Critter Fixers. You can see him on Nat Geo channel, or he told you being watched on Disney Plus. So thank you so much, Dr. Ferguson, for coming on and wowing the viewers here on Wow Mission Only One Live TV show. I am your host, SherVonne Grose, and it has been such a pleasure to share this platform tonight with Dr. Terrence Ferguson, guys. See him on Nat Geo, but you've also seen him right here on Wow. That's all of our show for tonight, guys. So have a great rest of your evening.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, I forgot to